Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingrid Jones, and thank you for deciding to choose to watch this video. This one, I want to talk a little bit about USYK and GLOWACKI. Big USYK fan, and a fan of GLOWACKI as well. Let's take you back a while back. GLOWACKI challenging Marco Huck for the WBO CRUISERWEIGHT Championship of the world. The fight was in America. I think Huck was looking to either level or beat Johnny Nelson's record to be the most successful cruiserweight in history in terms of title defenses. Unfortunately, that night, it didn't work out as planned. Now, Huck was doing what he wanted to do in the fight, more or less, but GLOWACKI was putting up a good resistance. Huck dropped GLOWACKI, and it looked like business as usual, but Huck kept putting his chin back out of the way and leaving his chin in the air, putting straight back from punches. And I kept saying over Twitter, anybody who was watching the fight with me and on Twitter, I mentioned that he would get clipped, and eventually got clipped and knocked out. Now, I want to take you back to the fight, GLOWACKI and USYK. And at the beginning of the fight, a new trainer, I think he was with Don House at the time. When Don House entered the ring with GLOWACKI, look at the body language between GLOWACKI and let me change that again. Marco Huck and Don House. Look at the interaction between Don House and Marco Huck when they get in the ring together. I want you to look at that for a minute. And it's almost like they both know something's not right there. And you know, for a new trainer to be like that with a fighter, and this is no disrespect to Don House, who does an excellent job with Berlin Stavern now. But the distance between the fighter and the trainer was almost like the trainer said, don't get me involved with this. I'm not involved. You want to do it your way? Fine. It was almost that sort of behavior. You could see in the body language. So go back, I would advise you to go back and look at the fight again. Look at when Huck gets in the ring with Don House. And from that point there, I picked that up in the fight. And it's little things like you pick up, you think, you know, I like to see trainer and fighter together looking, you know, like they mean business, they're ready to go. A new partnership as well. Didn't look great. So then I find out later on, down the line, that Huck has been struggling at the weight from cruiserweight to heavyweight, and that would be of no surprise because there were rumors of Huck. This would have been his last fight, cruiserweight. He was going to move up to heavyweight, you know. And even when he got knocked down by GLOWACKI, he looked exhausted. So, and Huck is usually a strong man and he takes a good shot. This is taking nothing away from GLOWACKI, but I'm wondering to myself, was that the best of Marco Huck, or was that a weight drain Marco Huck? Because I asked that question, and you'll see why I'm leaving this in a minute. And I'm only asking questions. If he was weight draining, I need to talk to Don House to find out more about that situation. But and find out whether he really was weight draining or not. But that's what the story was. And you saw how Marco Huck was very effective at heavyweight against Povetkin in a fight that I thought Marco Huck won at heavyweight. But anyway, so okay, Huck loses this fight. He then goes on and comes back and he fights guy from the UK. I keep getting his name. They had so many wars together. It's not a good night for me remembering fighters' names. Ofalabi, that's his name. Ola Ofalabi. He fought Ofalabi and he beat Ofalabi. You know, but he stopped Ofalabi as well. It's a good win from Huck. Since then, GLOWACKI's gone and made a defense against Steve Cunningham. Steve Cunningham moving from to cruiserweight. I had my question marks whether Cunningham, despite being a very good fighter, you know, coming from heavyweight down to cruiserweight, that's still a drop. And at the age of 35 or 36, or I think in 40s, I'm not sure. But Cunningham's an older fighter. Whether him moving back down to cruiserweight now at the age he was, whether that was going to hurt his body or not. He seemed to box without no real game plan and got involved in the brawl with GLOWACKI. Showed vulnerabilities on the inside. Didn't seem to be able to fight very well on the inside. Was okay to fight on the outside. There, And later on in the fight, Cunningham started to get to GLOWACKI. So Cunningham's never been noted as a big puncher as a cruiserweight, despite dropping Tyson Fury heavyweight. He's never been noted as a big puncher at cruiserweight. I think more Tyson was off balance. If you look at the shot, he got caught. Tyson's 2 feet were on, and he had him down by his side and got caught with a shot. So that shot would have knocked anyone down. It's simply a balance problem there. And a good shot from Cunningham. So GLOWACKI's win against Cunningham again kind of leaves you more questions. GLOWACKI's tough, he's strong, he's hard as nails. Decent boxer. It reminds me of Arthur Spilking ways, the way he fights and moves around the ring. But he's rugged. You know, if he gets dropped, he'll get back up and he'll fight. You know GLOWACKI. You know what GLOWACKI is made of. So he's beaten 2 guys. He beat the best cruiserweight in the world, which was Michael Huck. Weight drained or not, Michael Huck was the man in the division. And then after that, he's gone and beat a former top man in the division, Steve Cunningham. So now he's going to fight Alexander Usyk, who has a tremendous Olympic record, 1 gold in the Olympics, you know, and now as a pro, has basically had it all his own way. Criticisms about Alexander Usyk would be that he hasn't fought anybody in the remote class of GLOWACKI. Skill alone, you've got to say that Usyk is a better boxer, puncher than GLOWACKI. GLOWACKI is strong. You know what he can do in a battle, in a real fight. You know he's got a big heart. But you also know that there's limitations there with GLOWACKI in terms of his inside game. Now, I would say mid-range to inside is where GLOWACKI, it has weaknesses. Strengths, does punch with both hands, persistent, rugged. And, you know, if you get into a dogfight with GLOWACKI, he'll come out on top, as he showed against Cunningham, dropping Cunningham several occasions. If Cunningham had boxed, it would have been a different fight. There are question marks with the guy, a young guy who's had a handful of fights. I don't think he even had 10 pro fights yet. James Bishir, a respected trainer, been around the block a long time now, believes that it's his time. But Usyk, this fight is not just, you know, an unbeaten fighter challenging for a world title. There's so many other twists and turns to this fight. It's a great fight. You've got 2 unbeaten fighters. You've got 2 guys who are going to come and put their skills together. I think it's a great fight. But it's, I said, twists and turns. The fight's in Poland, okay? It's in GLOWACKI's home. He is an Al Haymon fighter. This is a K2 fighter. Klitschko Promotions. For those who know K2, Klitschko, Usyk, I think also Lomachenko. I think all those are under K2, I believe. So yeah, their outfit, and Vitaly and Vladimir, I believe, are going to be in the audience watching Usyk fight. I mean, Usyk's done well as he is as the Olympics. I mean, that's the biggest stage you can have as an amateur fight in the Olympics. But now he's going to have to do something again and go for the trenches again, now in Poland. So he's going to fight in Poland, and if it's close, then you know the GLOWACKI's going to get the decision. So you know from the outset how the story is. Usyk has to knock GLOWACKI out. So he's got to knock GLOWACKI out. He's going to go out there and knock out a guy who has never been knocked out, has been knocked down, but has never been knocked out, and has fought the best cruiserweight in the world and beaten the best cruiserweight in the world. So how do you pace the fight? If you look at, I take you to the Kovalev fight when Kovalev fought Hopkins. Kovalev didn't want to gas out, so he didn't fight and come out in the first round trying to take Bernard Hopkins' head off. He boxed, and when he boxed about the 12th round, he said, "All right, now let me have a go." And he went for Hopkins. And if he had done 12 rounds in the previous fight and then fought Hopkins, who knows, he may have stopped Bernard. So how does Usyk pace this fight? He's an inexperienced fighter, remember. He's not done the 12 rounds against a credible world-class opponent. So he's got that to consider. How does he pace the fight? Does he go out there and try and take the fight to GLOWACKI? How does Usyk fight on the back foot against a guy who can punch hard and is constantly pressing the action? Has he ever fought anybody like that in his career? Deal with the pressure. How does he deal with getting hit hard by a guy that keeps coming forward, How does he deal with that? Will he be using angles all the time? Does his stamina hold out for 12 rounds? Now, GLOWACKI tied down the stretch against Cunningham. Does he have weight issues? Does he struggle at the weight? So there's those things there as well. And Usyk, how big a puncher is he? Does he hit as hard as Huck? Is he a bigger puncher than Huck? We don't know, because we don't know how good Usyk actually is. So there's lots of twists and turns in this fight. You know, so the judges, the referee, it's an Al Heyman show. So what sort of referees are going to be there? The size of the ring, all these different factors that Usyk will never have had to deal with before on the world title stage. A lot of things there that Alexander Usyk, this fight can easily be done and be made in America. Easily. This fight can be done in America. This fight can be done in America. And I think for the cruiserweight division, this fight should have been in America. Now, should Usyk win, this is no means a foregone conclusion. Should Usyk win? James Ellerbish, the trainer of Alexander Usyk, has said they're prepared to go and fight Tony Bellew next in the unification bout for the WBC title, or to fight Lebedev for a version of the world title as well. So this is going to be an interesting fight, an exciting fight, a fight that should be getting a lot of attention. These are two evenly matched fighters, I think. Some people think GLOWACKI, the more experienced fighter, the more proven fighter, the guy who's got the better resume, is going to be Usyk. I can understand that and I can see that. But there are other people who think Usyk is the real deal. They call him the #1 cruiserweight in the world. I mean, Tony Bellew at one point saying Usyk was the best cruiserweight in the world. Well, he's not going to turn around and say Usyk still is the best cruiserweight in the world, because now he's WBC champion. So of course he's going to say he's the best cruiserweight in the world. But it's a great fight. It's going to happen out there. It's going to be a great fight, September the 17th. And as a supporter or somebody who is Baylor, who's covered James Ellerbish over many years, it would be great for him to get his first world champion with Alexander Usyk. It really would. And they have such a bond. It's unbelievable. Hopefully tomorrow we will bring you an exclusive of Alexander Usyk talking about his career with James Ellerbish. So we're really looking forward to bring that to you. So who are you picking for the fight? Who do you think is going to win this fight, GLOWACKI or Usyk? Do you think it could be a draw? Do you think that if the fight goes to points that GLOWACKI will have an advantage being in Poland and an Al Heyman fighter? Do you think the fight should have been in America? Had the fight been in America, it probably got more publicity. What do you think? Is it because both guys don't speak English? Is that a problem as well? And the fact that if these guys were speaking English, they may have made more money? I don't know. Is it advisable now that fighters like GLOWACKI and Usyk learn to speak better English so that they can progress and make more money? Do you have to speak English? I mean, look at Canelo. I've seen a lot of interviews actually with Canelo where somebody's talking to him in English and he's answering in Mexican. Work that one out. But he's a star, so hey. I think that's about it from me. Check out the Usyk exclusive gym footage. We'll try and get you some more as soon as we can. September the 17th. Will GLOWACKI remain WBO champion? Or will there be a new champion of the world? Alexander Usyk!